Anyway, let's fucking blast it. For all the Brazilian chatters, this is Twitter. Okay, this is what it looks like. Don't worry, you'll be able to see it from the Twitch stream, obviously, because, you know, Brazil bans Twitter. Kamala and Trump trade blows with 65 days till election. Okay, Russian government uses me in a recruitment ad. New boy vid. Austin and I do ban appeals. Okay, buddy. And Wukong chapter 3 later. Get in now. They used, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you in a second. Okay, this is not a fucking joke. This is not a meme. This is not a, it's not a joke. This is a real thing that happened. Does anyone have a screenshot of the, does anyone have a blast off meme or what? Yeah, I'll do okay, buddy, today. Brother, the cars are fucking on your shirt. Yeah, I know. No, you heard it right. Cinema. Okay, I like that. Okay. I'll use that one. That's a good one. Okay. What is this, dude? This is so funny. Hassan and Austin moments. Started watching Hassan because I thought there were a couple of them out. That is crazy. That is crazy. This is more fun and less political than like 70% of Sunday Fundays. Yeah, that's the whole point. I'm trying to do more. I'm trying to do more fun shit, dude. What are you talking about? We can't be doing just news all the goddamn time. You know what I'm saying? It'll make me go crazy. You argue like one though? Yeah. I am his platonic top. I'm his spiritual top. That's what it is. Spiritually topping his ass. We need to react back. I know. We haven't done reacts in so long. What is this? Tapping out after a productive day of learning how to draw that one Turkish guy on the internet. Let's go. This is sick. Yo, this is so good. Versus my Hassans from 2021, which were of varying quality and look like a different dude every time. Okay, these are incredible. You were very talented. Bro saw that 30-year-old majority and said we need to bring back reacts. Yo, seeing the 30-year-old majority, I should be reacting to fucking, I don't know, like silent films or something. Okay, I should be reacting to the first movie so that people can feel nostalgia, so people can feel a sense of nostalgia. I should be reacting to the fucking NPR commercials. Like, holy shit, dude. Plus 30 audiences at like 44% at this point. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. We might as well do AARP subscriptions right now, dude. This is like, they should be hitting me up right now so that they can get the new crop of AARP subscribers in here. Hassan, I don't know if you saw, but there are good news from the Bilibili front. Okay, show me. Bro, we should be reacting to Citizen Kane. Half of the chat is the citizen in Citizen Kane. Okay, you are the Kane. You're half of chat is Kane and Abel, dude. Chat's like, oh dude, don't watch Charlie Chaplin, he like still owes me money. It's fucked up. Okay, so there's a 56-year-old woman here. Yeah, this is literally chat. Let's be real. And myself included, you know, we are all old. We have gotten old. We've gotten old as fuck. You've definitely never seen Citizen Kane, right? No, I have not. Even though I know the dude, I know the person who made it, his son. I know him. I used to work with him, Ben Mankiewicz. But Brazil followed through on the Twitter ban? I don't even fucking know. I think so. I can't post a clip, but the Wukong clip went like 300K views in a day. Shut the fuck up. No way. Ain't no way. Are you serious? Dude, this is so exciting for me. Oh my God. Yeah, calm down. We got Chinese netizens watching right now, okay? This might get on Bilibili. Okay? Quick. Talk about how awesome China is. We want high-speed rail. This game is a W for China. Oh, 100%. This is, in my opinion, gamers are some of the most reactionary people on the fucking planet. And this game is like endlessly successful in terms of doing soft power for China. Oh, shit. I was not paying attention. Holy shit. Oh my God. Bro. Hassan China trip when? The video is taken from Zopai Anchor, who has a fantasy about high-speed rail. I realize my comment will be posted on Bilibili. I hope China's high-speed rail can reach the Ivory Coast. Bro, this has how many views? Someone said this has 300K views. Dude, I'm picking up social credit left and right. Let's go, baby. Zopai means leftist. Views are on the top left. 146K? Is that what it is? Oh, 300K. Yo, let's go in one day, dude. 300K in one day, baby. Let's go. How do you know Chinese people like leftists? What are you talking about? CCP Glazer, China Glazer. First of all, Chinese people like anybody that isn't immediately hostile to China. Okay. So that's number one. And number two, Chinese people are significantly more culturally tuned to the left than American people are. I don't think you understand. We're talking about billions of fucking people that literally exist under the communist banner. You know what I mean? Like, even if you don't fancy yourself to be like a socialist at all, like there is still a lot of like all the social conditioning that comes along with that. You know what I mean? Imagine your founding father being a fucking out and about communist. You know, the dude you're looking at your money on is not a slaver, but instead a dude who, you know, is one of the godfathers of you know, practical communism in existence. I feel like that culturally, just like how culturally we talk about like culturally the way that Americans like exhibit white supremacist tendencies, I would assume that culturally a lot of Chinese people have those tendencies as well, even if they're not like super ideologically out and about. Literally, some chatters are grouping billions of people in one political ideology. It's like watching videos of Trump and thinking every American is an exact reflection of him. Well, they're not wrong. All I'm saying is you are assuming most Chinese love Mao. No, dude, you're misunderstanding the point I'm making. It's like the way that Americans perceive the founding fathers. Okay? How is that hard for you to comprehend? The way that Americans perceive the founding fathers, the way that Americans are like still socially, like there are plenty of Americans who think like, obviously, yeah, this shit sucks, right? With respect to the founding fathers. Find me a Chinese citizen that praises Mao. Oh my God, dude, you are not understanding social conditioning. Please, like, I think you're openly jumping to a false conclusion that I am not making. I'm not saying every single Chinese person is like a dick rider of Mao. You're trolling me right now, which is really annoying because it's a fucking Saturday and we're just trying to have fun. And immediately you're like, let's talk about China. Everybody actually hates Mao and there's no Chinese leftists. Like, holistically, okay, across the board, if your country's founding father is a fucking communist, you are going to have very different fundamental principles culturally. Okay, that's just it. That's all I'm saying. Oh my God, dude. Okay, shut up. Enough. Take 30 minutes off and then you can come back and troll again. Okay, you're being annoying. Stop being charitable. Stop being charitable on a Saturday. I know, it's so fucking lame. Just got here. I think you're shadow banned on IG. Wait, why? What does that mean? Why would I be shadow banned on Instagram? All political content is suppressed on IG. Can't look you up in the search bar again. Chatter is saying this while a ton of Chinese netizens have been getting mad at the Wukong disc for flipping off a Mao portrait. Yeah, it's like, I think I made like the softest, broadest fucking take that I could in terms of like, of course, culturally speaking, like if your founding fathers are, you know, if your founding fathers are slavers, then you're going to have some white supremacist hangups. If your founding father is Mao, you're going to carry on some of the cultural aspects of that, some of the cultural values of that in your societal development. It's all about social conditioning. It doesn't mean that like people are ideologically socialist or anything. That's it. Stop opening Twitter. I will get a 10K fine. What's up, Brazilians? Your take was not hot. It was pretty logical. Chatter was being annoying. I know. I wasn't even making like a fucking super hot take being like every Chinese netizen carries the spirit of Mao in every action that they take, and they want to restore the cultural revolution tomorrow. Cultural revolution today, cultural revolution tomorrow. Motherfuckers can't just be normal about China in America. Literally proving the point. All right, let's look at this funny Trump meme. Me, Trump, you've been a bad kitty. Turns vibrator on the max. Bro, he is moaning, dude. That is crazy. That's a grown-ass man. Why is he moaning so much? That's weird, dude. That's weird, dog. Why are you moaning this much? You need to dial it back, dude. My mom literally said not to talk about China too much because I will seem like a terrorist. Yo, this is, I mean, this goes back to like, obviously what I've said time and time again, that Donald Trump is zesty as hell. Okay. But like, honestly, someone is getting off to this. And by someone, I mean me, I'm getting off to it. But also I think like people in the crowd are getting off to it. You cannot convince me that there aren't Debras and Barbaras in that crowd right now that are like nutting a little bit. Okay. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Like this is, bro, this is straight up me after like a week of not having time to nut. Okay. I'll say it. I'm not embarrassed. I'll openly admit that. Okay. Have you blasted off already? I think I did, but I forgot. I did. Yeah, here it is. Brazil bans Twitter. Your stream is falling off. Wow, says Chud Zoomer. Why do these people... Dude, my haters are my #1 participators in the chat. They literally watch every second. They're like waiting for like a marginal weekend. Like they'll be like, "Oh man, your fucking weekend views are lower than your Monday news. Seems to me like you're falling off." It's like, bro, come on. It's the election cycle. Just wait. Okay? Like just wait until the election cycle is done so that you can say I'm dropping off, you know, tracking my fucking stats like that. Maybe everyone is dying in the background while we play circus. What? Guy who used to work at PragerU and Heritage Foundation has a problem with Groyper War. Wait, what? I don't think this guy is real, bro. I don't think this guy actually worked there. We need Nicholas J. Fuentes to change up his advisors. Groyper War 2 would have been much more successful if he wasn't surrounded by talentless, dorky, lazy hacks. Oh, man. Okay, I'll be real, dude. Do the right thing. If you call yourself a Groyper and say things like Groyper War unironically on the timeline, do the right thing. You know, rid society of this poison. Like you're on borrowed time. You're on borrowed time. You got nothing. Okay? You got nothing going on for you. Just do it. Okay? Do the right thing. Just do the right thing. Follow Adolf Hitler in that all the way to the end, you know? Preserve your family's honor, you know. A lot of you guys love Japanese culture and shit. Why don't you do that? Why don't you come to the recognition that you've brought great shame? You brought great unimaginable shame to your family. You know what I mean? And do the right thing. That's all I'm going to say. What is this? As an Indian Hasanabi head, I'm proud of the way you handled the anti-Indian sentiment on your podcast appearance. So. Oh, this?
They definitely do.
Where are you getting this information?
From Jewish niggas I went to school with.
This guy was saying that like Jews get reparations in America, like by the American government. When he called in, he's like, everybody gets reparations but black people. And it was pretty funny. And he's like, but then when he starts talking about Indians, it was hilarious. Here, watch.
It was my school. They told me that shit.
Yeah, Jews did get reparations from the German government, but that's not what he's saying. He's making it seem like every Jewish person in America is still getting a fucking check from the American government.
I got something to tell you, my brother.
Look, have you ever met a bro Jew?
That's crazy. That's a crazy source. Hey, state your source. Jewish niggas.
The AE Pi Frat.
The AE Pi Frat. This is a Jewish fraternity. He's right.
That is a Jewish fraternity?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, wait. Hold up. But he said everybody else other than black people are getting money. Who else is getting money?
All right, so they be giving money directly, but when a lot of immigrants they come here, they get jobs. They can apply for this thing where they don't have to pay taxes on their job for like the first 3 or 5 years.
I wonder why.
And you notice that's why every gas station, and you go in there every 3 to 5 years, they always have a different Indian person at the desk. Because they re-sign it every 3 to 5 years.
You let me when I signed the mass contracts.
Yo, this is amazing.
I know your Google search is fucked. Like, where are you getting
I'm
this
getting
from?
this shit straight from the source.
Who told you this? Who told you this?
Please don't say Indian
My
niggas.
Indian neighbors who live across the street. His name is.
So what? Did they leave after 5 years? Like, are they gonna leave?
Nah, they signed it. They signed the paper over to whoever move over here next. They just keep passing it along.
Okay. Maybe
That's why everybody last name Patel.
Oh my god.
Yo, what's going on? Bro?
He's not. He's not wrong, but that's because of the caste system. It has nothing to do with like some weird immigration trick.
I'm just saying what I've been told.
He think they got a Ponzi scheme rolling here.
It's just funny because, like, I mean, it's a perfect demonstration of how like like ignorance and simultaneously like lack of knowledge in a field or on a specific thing, and then just like recognizing certain patterns can so quickly turn you into a guy who is like conspiratorial and also so far off base. Because he's like, oh, well, I saw a lot of people whose last names are Patel. What's up with that? And it's just like he has not investigated it any further. But yeah, he's not being hateful, just very misinformed. Yeah. Nerd moment. A lot of business we attribute to Indian Americans like motels were originally Japanese, but we lost during internment. Yeah, the motel game is actually locked down by Indians though, for sure. I've seen that on TikTok as well. As a Patel myself, he's not that far off from the truth. Indian business owners love to exploit recent immigrants. Okay, but he's not saying that. He's saying he's wrong. That's not what he was saying. Crash Dummy's got the funniest audience, bro. I was dying. Yeah, it's hilarious. Anyway, I wonder if he gets his curls done or if it's natural. Are you talking about me? No, I don't even have curls if you're talking about me. I have waves, but that's it. Yeah, there's a lot of funny bangers that came from that podcast. And I hope people appreciated it. I hope people enjoyed it. I have waves. No, not like waves like that. I have wavy hair. Like it's not that curly. Your hair is definitely curly. I've always wanted straight hair my whole life when I was growing up. Law overruled. I weighed myself this morning. It's bad, bro. I thought you were fucking working out. What the hell's going on, dude? Use the goddamn free time you have to get fucking brolic. I'm 205. Shit, bro. I'm about to catch up to you. I'm fucking 225, you know? Hassan's hair. Yeah. I got waves like Osborne. Put the do-rag on for us. Come on. No. I should have done it with the boys, though. I should put the do-rag on with the boys. That's the only time where it's valid and allowed. I lost 15 pounds in the last 3 months and doing 60 minutes of cardio daily while I watch and 250 cumulative push-ups a day, 175 to 160 pounds. Congratulations, chatter. Get your friend to explain this. Why do you send Instagram reels and shit, dude? Why do you do that? Oh, it's this one? Yeah, no. I mean, this is the only time where this is allowed. You're allowed to show this. I'm too thick and I'm going on a diet today. I thought you started the diet. Put that away. Delete that. Bro, it's not happening, okay? You did this and you have to live with it for the rest of your life, okay? You got complacent. Here's what happened. You got complacent with where you're at once you basically secured the hottest piece of ass you could, Shrek. And now all y'all do is sit around in the swamp and eat fucking snacks, okay? You got to get back in the gym. Fix your diet. Caught slipping. Anyway, yes, I have the boy video on the docket, of course. Please stop linking it to me. It's right here. I know. We shot it in my house, okay? Obviously, I'm going to watch it. This is a deep fake. It's not a deep fake. You're fucking making out. Your tongue is down his throat, brother. We see it. You can't hide it. Okay. All right. Let's start with the first order of business, okay? This morning, I wake up and I got a message from the motherfucking boys, okay? From Boy, Alexa, okay? And he's like, you won't believe what shows up in this fucking ad. Now, we've covered some of these ads before on the broadcast. This is another one of these like shitty AI Russian military recruitment ads, okay? And it's incredible. Let's take a look. What are our men made of?
Из татушек и проколотых ушек, из иллюзий и банановых смузи сделаны наши мужчины. Из яркого грима и стримов.
That's crazy. Okay? How the fuck did I make the goddamn Russian government my op? That's insane. Okay? Who the fuck is over there, like former Hasanabi head? They got my worst era too. They got my fucking worst era. FSBs hate watching out here, bro. What the fuck? Make me looking like fucking Bam Margera, Temu Hassan. That's insane. You're not beating the Russian op allegations. What are you talking about? This is literally directly saying I'm gay. Okay? What the fuck? They're saying like our men aren't gay and fruity and pose in front of like sexy cars while they're fucking doing live streams of putting makeup on. What are you talking about? That's insane, brother. Being a Slav is an unending row of apologizing for our more special brothers. Yeah, I mean, but come on, dude. First of all, you put on fucking Guyliner one time for an emo stream, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, this guy puts Guyliner every day. How does this happen? And it's like I said, dude, if you're like one of those like NAFO Andes who's like a Nazi and is like, oh, I love NATO so much, I hate Russia, Russian orcs, like you see this, you got to kill yourself. Okay? Straight up. I'm their biggest op. They put me in a fucking ad. They don't even know you exist, dude. But I've been posting on subreddits all day, every day about how Estonia will rise up once again. What happened, dude? FSB doesn't know you. They put me down as a op. They don't even know who the fuck you are, bitch. You're just some random dickhead online and about how we need 800 more military bases for America. Okay? By the way, one of those NAFO guys did kill himself and another one did out himself as a Nazi. So, you know, not surprising. Imagine making your entire identity online being pro-NATO, being anti-Russia, being pro-Ukraine unconditionally from fucking Langley, Virginia, and they don't even recognize you. They put me down as an op instead, which is hilarious because, like, this is opposite of you being an op. No, op, like, is in opposition, dude. They're saying I am their opposition. They're directly saying that, like, I'm doing gay streams with makeup. How do you not understand this? Okay, but how are you so sure this is you? Okay, let's run this back. How am I so sure this is me?
Из яркого грима и стримов.
It's a live streamer who has a lot of rings, who paints his fucking nails, who's posing in front of a nice car, who has multiple necklaces on. Dog. What is this? Just tuned into the stream. Girly, what eyeliner are you using? Okay, it was one time. It was like 2 times. Here's the real Guyliner champion. This is literally like this straight up is if you put me through a fucking AI filter, it's got the buffalo hair, it's got the Guyliner from like one fucking stream, it's got the posing in front of a fucking car. It's got like the black long sleeve tee with like multiple necklaces. Like this is if like an artificial intelligence just shit out like what it perceives me as online off of like what my fucking haters say about me. Yep. It's like literally a combination of like a couple different tropes that all of my haters have put together. Now, all I'm going to say is this, okay? I am still anti-NATO. So I don't know why the fuck people are chirping like this, okay? Yeah, I mean, here, this is another one. Yeah. The dog on the bottom? No, that's just the watermark for that fucking Twitter account.
Из сладких пирожных и брендов одежных. сделаны наши мужчины. Присоединяйтесь.
No mistake, I am still anti-NATO, okay? I don't know what the fuck these dudes are on about, all right? And not only am I fucking anti-NATO, look, I'm anti-NATO, but I'm also anti-Russia invading Ukraine, okay? Everybody needs to calm the fuck down. I think it's funny that you're a bigger enemy to the Russians than the NATO Andes. All their shilling still gave them no clout. Yeah, dude. If I'm, what's that fucking guy who like traveled all over Ukraine? Like, there are so many American, supposedly quote unquote leftist content creators who have spent like so much of their fucking time being like, hey guys, I went to Ukraine and in the midst of all the bombing, I decided to figure out what is truly the most important thing. How much do these Ukrainian people that I found hate Hasanabi Piker? Okay. Meanwhile, there is an entire cottage industry online of people being like, Hassan is a Russian op. He is a Russian asset. Okay. He's a Russian operative. Okay. Meanwhile, turns out, according to Russia, they don't know who the fuck you are, but it seems like they don't like me a lot. Uncanny. Okay. Do you put my face on it? Shut the fuck up. Anyway, how both sides hate you. It's yeah, I'm doing the reverse. You know how like, if you advocate for both sides, you always come out on top. I shit on both sides, so I always come out on the bottom. But yeah, it is pretty funny. Like I said, like I said, I don't know how the fuck this happened, but it is pretty funny to just like make your entire personality be like the most Reddit you can be. It's like, I don't understand. I farmed 1 million karma points on Reddit by posting footage of like 18-year-olds in trenches getting blown to pieces by grenades being dropped out of drones, and they don't even know who I am. Like, does it scare you at all? Not really. What the Sigma? I'm in combat footage all the time. I'm a moderator of r/combat footage. Maybe it's because Russia is pissed off that they don't serve ads at the top of the hour anymore to the Russians, which is a benefit, really. But unless you're in Russia right now watching, you're going to see an ad at the top of the hour, 3 minutes long. You, of course, don't have to see those ads as long as you subscribe for $6 or for free. You actually raise funds, unlike any of those unwashed accounts? No, I don't think they give a fuck that I raise funds for like Ukrainian refugees. I think it's just like, I think it's because I regularly, like I do obviously have like people in this community who sometimes will come in and like try to push Z, and then I shit on them, and then maybe they feel betrayed or something. I don't know. All I'm saying is there's hella commentators out there who like have demonstrated like unhinged fucking rhetoric in general. And the fact that they put me on there as like the biggest op of Russia is pretty funny. I mean, I'll take it. Okay, my bad. Not pushing Z. Sorry. One of the GOAT UFC fighters that retired recently, Mighty Mouse, was going off about unionization of MMA this weekend, and he used all your talking points. 90% he stumbled onto your YouTube content. I mean, Mighty Mouse does watch a lot of Asmongold, so maybe he accidentally watched me off of Asmongold or some shit. You know what I mean? No, they hate you because you report the reality, not the Western viewpoint. As soon as you report honestly, you're hated by NAFO Andes. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry I missed half of your coverage, but it doesn't really look like you. Am I dumb? Yeah, you're right, dude. The fucking guy that the Russian government is pointing to as like wearing a lot of jewelry, painting his fucking fingernails, doing bright makeup, and also streaming, live streaming, including in front of a fucking car that suspiciously looks like my car, okay, but red. It's, you know, I'm sure that was just a select few things that they put together that just randomly they just put that shit together. You know what I mean? They must be talking about fucking Ludwig or Asmongold here. I think it's just, what is the ad complaining about? The ad is saying that like what kind of man are you? Are you a part of the fucking Russian military, like a real man? Or are you gay and woke? Okay. That's what they're doing. I can't tell if chatters are being, chatters are memeing, or if they like legitimately think that this is a total coincidence. Like I genuinely think like there are some chatters who are like hyper neurodivergent who are like, no, it's not literally you. The car is red. Like, or maybe they're just new. Anyway, I ran the 3-minute ad break already.
Мейстримов.
Yeah, they just it's literally this photo. I mean, no. It's just like it's from a time frame where I had like, what is this? Top ad break? You know I already ran it, right? I ran it already, if that's what you were trying to serve me. So you missed it. You fucked it up. Honestly, all I'm going to say is that the last thing I'm going to say is I used to joke because chatters would be like, who told Putin about you? Why would Russia do propaganda against you when you're pro-China though? Main character syndrome. Yeah, he's back. The anti-China chatter is back, dude. I don't know, maybe because I keep fucking shitting on Russia and the Russian government and the Russian military. Although I am still anti-NATO, obviously that still doesn't change the reality that like Vladimir Putin and his actions in Ukraine are completely unacceptable. Now, you wouldn't know that, you know, because you're too busy poking holes in your brain as you watch, and you're so unimaginably primed into thinking that I'm like a Russian op or whatever. Oh, the debate lord from yesterday during gaming? No, this is a new one. He might be him though. Anyway, Z pushers think you want to trans Russia? Yeah, that's what I want to do. Austin is the anti-FSB honeypot. There's like a 60% chance that Hinkledink is responsible for your part in the ad. Bro, if they are, that actually tracks, honestly. Like working with a dude like Hinkledink to do like ads, like recruitment ads, does track with like a lot of the tactical fuck ups that Russia has engaged in, including, but not limited to, literally invading Ukraine. So really bad instincts there on their part. Continuing along with the bad instincts in general would be to work with someone like that. He requested you be featured as an example of a Western woke streamer. I mean, I like it. I think it's funny. That's all I'm going to say. I like, it's hilarious. It also, it's doubly hilarious because like, you know, it's doubly hilarious because they're like, oh, dude, what kind of man would you rather be? A dude fucking dying in the trenches because he has no other option in the fucking meat grinder, okay? Or a streamer that paints his fucking nails and is like, you know, being gay or whatever in front of a nice car. It's like, yeah, no, I think I'd rather be this. That's number one. Number two, and I think this is even funnier, all of those like fucking r/combat footage nerds out there who are like, who've made, you know, throwing Ukrainian men into the meat grinder their whole identity, like their entire identity, have also simultaneously considered me to be like a Russian operative, a person who is like unconditionally pro-Russia. And it feels like Russia doesn't feel that way. Meanwhile, all you motherfuckers are just like, you are not getting noticed, okay? You are not getting noticed, big dog. You know, just shut it down. They got the hairstyle and painted nails from this time you painted your nails. Russia is possibly the only nation that is as big as failure as the USA. Like 45% of men are physically addicted to alcohol consumption. I'll rock with the gays over the drunks any day. I mean, we got a lot of issues here in America too. Senpai is not noticing you. That's what I'm saying. In the beginning of the war, Ukrainians had more hope and thought they had a chance. But now it's clear you were right. A ceasefire deal should have happened early. Everyone I know in Ukraine is on the verge of mental breakdown, if not already there. Yeah, but remember, because I said that the 15-point plan that was facilitated in Turkey was actually good, I was actually a fucking hater and I was pro-Russia. Remember when I said that? When Ukraine had the leverage, significantly more leverage than they do now, and I said they should have done the ceasefire deal then, everyone said I was pro-Russia. How many fucking videos do YouTubers make on that shit? Again, I was right. Too early. It's okay. It's okay, dude. It's all good. I've been saying it. Haven't stopped saying it. Turns out, you know, why do you keep saying Russia invading Ukraine was a mistake? In what ways has it gone materially bad for them on net? Or do you simply mean it was morally wrong? One, I of course mean it's morally wrong. And two, I think it's a mistake in terms of beefing up NATO contracts and literally allowing or creating the conditions that that brought Finland and Sweden into NATO as well. The entire European market is geared towards a war economy. Germany is beefing up their defense industries. It's all bad. It's all bad news across the board. Russia's invasion of Ukraine gave, and also its failure on top of that too. Also, when you said Crimea should not be a part of the ceasefire, which is true, but they still demanding every single part of Ukraine must be retaken before any diplomacy, that's not going to happen. And also at the time, I said Zelensky was very smart for saying we will hold a referendum 15 years down the line for Crimea, pushing that off and taking it out of the equation entirely. That was the smart move to do for a ceasefire that would have also probably stopped a lot of the people to his right from chirping at him too much. But yeah, overall, it's been bad for the average Russian, you know. It's not great at all. You got a shit ton of Russians dying, shit ton of Ukrainians dying. Who the fuck is winning in this situation? Defense contractors in America are winning. Okay, they get to test out all their new weapons. I listened to a conversation with a former Google guy and Mark Milley on NPR talking about how America's procurement strategies are actually outdated and that the war in Gaza, the genocide in Gaza, and the war in Ukraine are a phenomenal opportunity to test out all these weapons that our allies and our enemies are both testing out in real time, and that we're going to have to play catch up with them. That's what they were openly stating on NPR. Terrifying, dude. Terrifying. The future of war is autonomous, is what they were saying. Okay? And that all of these people are actually doing that, and we need to get a piece of that immediately. And we need to shift our procurement strategy to not have like a fucking 15-year runway. That's where the fucking warmongers are at. Did NPR push back at all? No, dude. Of course not. Was that Sundar Pichai from Google? I don't remember what the dude's name is, but it wasn't Sundar Pichai. It was another dude. I think it was like Eric Schmidt or something. I forget. Anyway, never let a crisis go to waste, you know? Never let a good crisis go to waste. You see a genocide? You see genocide, you see children being blown to bits. I see an opportunity to make money. Wait, why are you pro-China? They don't have social ownership of the means of production. Wouldn't a ceasefire be violated by Russia in a couple of years? Dude, this guy hit literally every talking point possible, okay? Like every talking point. Would Russia even abide by any ceasefire treaty they signed? They are aggressive and bloodthirsty. You're right, okay? I've maintained the same position I have from the start, which is if they violate it, guess what, dude? Back to square one. Insincere complaint. It was Eric Schmidt. Yeah, this is the one. This was the most insane, bro. This was the most insane fucking 8-minute listen of all time. Genuinely terrifying. Former CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, and Joint Chief of Staff's, former chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff's, Mark Milley, General Mark Milley, came together and talked about how, you know, America's fallen behind on our military tech. Yeah. I like that people go, oh, dude, Russia would not abide by the ceasefire. It's like, okay, Israel won't either. There's a likelihood that Israel won't either, but it shouldn't stop you from trying, you know? And if they don't abide by the terms and conditions set forth by a ceasefire, then what are you supposed to do? You're back to square one. You're already fucking fighting. You're already in the meat grinder. All you've done is put a pause on that shit, you know? And as far as like being pro-China, even if they are talking points, what is the solution? NATO's imperialist, but what do we do? NATO's imperialist, but what do we do? What do you mean, what do we do? Get every country involved to come to the table and have a ceasefire agreement. Put it together. Most countries' positions are not like favoring war unless you're America. And now Russia as well. We have no power. Dost thou comprehend? Yes, you're right. We have no power. We protest, they ignore us. A Kentucky woman claims Kanye West telepathically told her to steal a car with a child inside, leading to her arrest. I actually believe he did this. Kanye West did do that. All right. Before we get to the army thing, there's a couple things I want to obviously cover. What is this clip?
It does not matter if the war is not real, or when it is, that victory is not possible. The war is not meant to be won. It is meant to be. The essential act of modern warfare is the destruction of the produce of human labor. A hierarchical society is only possible on the basis of poverty and ignorance.
1989, George Orwell, Animal Factory, Animal Farm, Animal Crossing, brother. You already know what it is. George Orwell. Anyway, where the fuck was I? What was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, here. If I could write a tweet that stated the chain of events depicted in this clip, Hosberus would say I'm peddling anti-Semitism. However, this clip is made by a Jewish settler. Let's take a look. Let's take a peek into what's going on in the minds of settlers, okay? What kind of crazy people would want to live in a prison? We knew we would have to deal with challenges. When one of them, without a doubt, is the wall. We knew it. Wait. We knew it. I didn't imagine for a moment how difficult it would be for me. So as I explained in the previous videos, a wall is not necessarily a bad thing. It creates a safe space without cars so that children at all ages can walk around freely and really enjoy it. Personally, in terms of family and perspective, dude, this is literally fucking zone of interest. This is so zone of interest. It's not even like, it is like down to the fucking wall, down to the children playing. Like it is straight up. In terms of family perspective, and of course, in community perspective. So at least in terms of the youth and the children, nothing is missing. But I really need space. I need it for my soul. The Arabs around, on the other hand, was walking around freely in the fields and the orchards around, and we looked at them from inside our cages. Dude, I have a really good solution. Leave, okay? Leave this land that does not belong to you. Okay, leave immediately. Okay, leave immediately. He's like, I'm the one who's in a prison of my own making. Like that, what a wild fucking way to present the enclosures that you have placed upon Palestinians living in their ancestral lands. Holy moly. And we went crazy of jealousy for their freedom of movement. To say, by the way, the camera is literally outside of the wall, which makes it even funnier because, like, obviously this is not holding you in. You are betraying the argument that you are making, and everyone knows what the fucking reality is. Like, to say that as a Jewish settler in the West Bank that, like, you are jealous of the Arab freedom of movement is disgusting. Like, it is the most insane thing you can say. Hey, we'll do everything for our Israel, but since the outbreak of the war, everything has changed completely. From day one of the war, the army has warned us of the Arabs around us that they are no longer leaving their villages to our settlement direction, and that all the fields and all the greenhouses around us considered for them a closed military zone. And since then, we have the right and the obligation to go out to these fields, to show our presence, and to get to know the amazing natural treasures that we didn't know existed a millimeter outside of our fence. And suddenly there's a place to walk around. And we do it, occupying the hills around us with lookout points. And we put up our flag with pride. And at the same time, around the settlement, a new fence is being built, which makes the official settlement area more than double what it was. What can I tell you? The fields and nature that I was so attracted to just opened up in front of me, more than I could ever imagine. I mean, animals, dude. I don't know what else to say. Just like violent, bloodthirsty, deranged animals in a perpetual state of victimhood while directly explaining to you how he is colonizing additional territory with a fucking gun strapped to his back that we probably shipped, by the way, that Itamar Ben-Gvir directly handed to him so he can fucking use on random Palestinian teenagers. Okay? How wonderful. What a wonderful, beautiful fucking, what a wonderful, beautiful sight, dude. Look at that. That's U.S. weapons right there that we gave Israel so they could arm their settlers. Sick. One day, dude. One day. The contradictions will inevitably cause this entire project to collapse. There is no way that this can continue like the way it has, okay? That's just that's all I'm going to say. No way that isn't satire. Nobody is it that insanely tone deaf? Brother, this is what you hear and what you read and what you learn about in your fucking history textbooks, okay? This is literally like when people ask, like, how did such an evil act like the Holocaust happen? Okay? Like, How did so many Germans get on board with such a gross act, such an inhumane machine of death and destruction? Okay? You're literally watching it. You're watching it happen in real time with people who have completely fucking lost their minds, okay? The arguments are the same. The logic is the same. The cause is the same. Living space, you know? It's all damn near a mirror image, okay? It's just the targets are different. It's the targets that are different, and it's those who are conducting it that are different, okay? Calling all Jews animals is unreasonable. Did I say all Jews are animals at any point here? Like, when I look at like a Klansman and I say, these guys are all fucking animals, do you go, wow, Hassan, you're calling all white Christians animals? Or do you go, oh, he must mean like the literal fucking Klansmen and those who have the same mindset? This is not a good argument. You cannot portray these fucking ultra-Zionist, ultra-nationalist, rabid, inbred hicks as the entirety of the Jewish population. This might have worked as a cynical deployment, a shield, okay, maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, but I think a lot of people understand the distinction, okay? Nowadays, when you do this, you are basically creating more anti-Semite, okay? By saying, no, this ISIS-style government and all of its loyal soldiers actually represent the entirety of Judaism. That is an unimaginably anti-Semitic sentiment, okay? Ridiculous. This bad faith argument does not fucking work, okay? It does not. But good luck, dude. Good luck. Good luck with your endeavor. Every time someone cynically comes in here, and says like, oh, I can't believe you're saying all Jews are like this, okay? I can't believe you're saying like all Jews are barbaric or bloodthirsty or whatever, because all Jews are Zionists, because that's the usual premise, the underlying premise, which is not correct, by the way. Okay, Jews are not a monolithic force. You are creating new Nazis, okay? There's already a shit ton of underlying anti-Semitic sentiment in Western society. You're just literally going to an audience that is primed, not this one, because obviously I deal with anti-Semitism on a daily fucking basis, okay? But what you are failing to recognize is there is a massive chunk of fucking people that are primed with like light, subtle, implicit, unexamined anti-Semitic tendencies, and you're straight up telling them like, no, all Jews are Zionists, all Jews love this shit, and when you criticize this, you're being anti-Semitic, okay? What you fail to recognize in this situation is you are literally telling uneducated people who are primed with an underlying layer of anti-Semitism that their anti-Semitic tendencies are correct. And it could not be further from the truth. Okay? Especially considering Jewish culture and Jewish history of struggle against oppression, struggle against pogroms. Jews have historically been on the right side of virtually every single thing throughout history, and have played a formative role in almost every single revolutionary act. Okay? And yet, over the course of the last 76 years, there has been a deliberate effort to create this national myth-making, this national mythos to justify this violent, settler colonial apartheid regime that is currently doing genocide by attaching it to Judaism. Okay? Ironic, because almost every single Zionist that says all Jews are Zionists, when you say Zionists, you mean all Jews, are literally doing the bidding of Nazis. Okay? Fascists of a different name. Anti-Semitic fascists versus Jewish fascists. Okay? They're doing the handshake emoji. You're doing their bidding. Nazis say all Jews love this shit. All Jews are like this. They all want to do this. They want to never stop doing this. Okay? And then you literally turn around and do the same thing in defense of Israel. You're like, no, all Jews love this. So if you criticize this, that means you hate Jews. You don't realize that like you are unironically doing the bidding of fascists here. Okay? Like I'm serious when I say like when I say that American fascists, like anti-Semitic fascists, are just jealous that Israel gets to have an ethno state and like kill a bunch of Muslims in the process. Like they want to do that here, but for what they have declared to be white, the in group. Just asking where Jews should go. You think they'll be sent to Ukraine? Maybe. Why not stay or come to America? I mean, has there ever been the DSA shake? Hasn't everybody lost their SJW protection now? Everyone's an asshole after COVID. Wait for the genocide tribunal to that shit. What are you saying? First of all, I'm not even making a fucking argument that like Jews should be forcibly extracted. Two-staters are making that argument. Okay? Two-staters are making that argument. That guy and 750,000 other Jews that are currently illegally occupying a space that does not belong to them. If you're a two-stater, you're saying you got to fucking rip them. You got to rip them. You got to forcibly, by military force, by using force, take them away from those areas that they currently occupy illegally, okay? Killing a bunch in the process, jailing a bunch in the process, 750,000 people. You can't do that. I'm saying currently Israel occupies this entire territory illegally. Make the apartheid illegal, which it should be. It is illegal under international law. And make a secular single state where Palestinians, okay, regardless of their background and religious beliefs, have the same exact rights that Israeli Jews have. There's no way out of this other than that being the reality. One day, more people will see. One day, more people will understand that. Anyway, Palestinians, the diaspora here, and once again to reiterate, we want one equal state with reparations, a right to return, and creation of a truly democratic state with equal rights, regardless of religion or ethnic group. Yep. Is there anything the LSS can actually do, or is it just talk? What? LSS? What about reparations? Of course. Of course. If you're asking me what is just, then of course reparations. A tribunal, reparations are an absolute necessity. Reconstruction with a right to return for all, Palestinians who still have refugee status. Follow international law. You can't have a rule-based international order and not follow the fucking rules. Anyway, I completely agree, but every time I say this, someone asks how I expect Israelis and Palestinians to get along without violence, and I honestly don't know what the best way to respond is. Yeah, ask them how fucking Europe gets along. We take peace for granted, okay? We take peace for granted. These countries that historically fought one another until not that fucking long ago literally exist in a structure where there's both free trade and freedom of travel, okay? With the exception of Brexit. Like, look at Europe. These are warring nations who have historically, despite the fact that they were cousin fuckers of different varieties, sometimes fucking each other's cousins, have warred for longer than they've been at peace. But you take peace for granted and you look at it and you go, oh my God, I could never imagine like England going to war with France, for example. How did that happen? History is riddled with examples of never-ending conflict almost ending overnight, okay? People have always made this exact same argument. People have made this exact same argument about the apartheid in South Africa. How will black people and white people live side by side in South Africa? People have made the same exact argument about Jim Crow South, or even before that, the abolition of slavery. How can newly freed slaves live side by side with the white people? The unfortunate reality is, one that many people have failed to recognize, is that it is usually not those who are recently liberated that turn around and engage in violent endeavors. Okay? It is usually not those who have been wronged historically that engage in violence in terms of retribution and vengeance. It is often those who want to maintain the racial pecking order that create the Ku Klux Klan, for example. Okay? It is usually those who are comfortable in their position of power that turn around and try to maintain that same racial standard, that same racial hierarchy, like in Reconstruction, you know? Anyway, that's it. Something to consider. But a lot of these naysayers will be handled in a civil court procedure. And not only that, but also, it won't be the Palestinians. Nobody knows about the 320 Palestinian suicide bombings. They are animals claiming oppression whilst being the oppressors. The Nakba was an act of the Palestinians. They agreed to the Balfour Declaration in return for independence from the British. Stay brainwashed sheep. You claim apartheid when over 20% of Israel's population are Arab Muslims. Hasbara ops working overtime today. Okay, hitting as many fucking lines as possible, but like the unimaginable supremacist, bigoted attitude jumps out. Okay. Nobody does a fucking suicide bombing because their shit's sweet. Okay. They do it because it's a last act of desperation from existing under years and years of brutal apartheid. The regular maintenance of apartheid is inherently violent. There is no peaceful apartheid. Feel me? You won't ever understand that though, because you're a fucking bot and, you're just in here to fucking write talking points. The Nakba was an act of the Palestinians. Yeah, that's really weird. Why do I, a Turkish man living in America, know more about Israeli history than you do? Possible IDF Unit 8200 operative fucking typing in here. Go surveil some more Palestinian women, okay? Instead of fucking writing this shit in here, you stupid fucking bot. Go spit on some more people. Defensive spit in the West Bank. That's really harsh. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I hurt your feelings by yelling at a fucking Nazi? Gave him like 30% of the smoke that he actually fucking deserves? The fuck out of here. Aw, did I hurt the Nazis' feelings? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. That's so sad. This is no longer a safe space. Have you noticed how they say Arab Israeli, not Palestinians? Yeah, Palestinian citizens of Israel comprise 20% of the population, okay? And it is hilarious to act like that justifies occupying a space where, 2.5 million on one side of the West Bank and 2.5 million on the other side in Gaza is not happening because 20% of the Israeli public in Israel proper is Palestinian citizens of Israel, who still, by the way, do not have the same fucking rights and civil liberties that Jewish citizens of Israel have. One must ask the question, okay? One must ask the question, why? Why is it that there is a demographic distinction between Arabs who are Jewish and Arabs who are not Jewish inside of Israel? Itamar Ben-Gvir is from Iraq. Why is he treated differently in Israel than an Arab who is Muslim but has Israeli citizenship? Who could say? Wait, actually, why? Because it's a fucking ethno-state, man. What do you mean? It is a religious ethno-state. That's why. It's because there is an ethnic superiority baked into an ethno-state. It's fascism. Pure fascism through and through. You can be Christian. You can be Muslim. You are a second-class citizen in Israel. If you are an Israeli citizen, you are a second-class citizen. Even inside of Israel proper, you still don't have the same rights that a Jewish citizen has. As a matter of fact, you can be a Jew from anywhere around the planet and have more rights inside of Israel than a dude who has lived in that fucking same area for like 200, 300 years. Okay? Straight up. You can participate in emigration into Israel, get your citizenship, and have all the rights and all the liberties. Well, yeah, with some exceptions, except for Ethiopian Jews. That's true. Okay, show me this 300-year-old guy. 300-year-old guy. It's not a person that's been living for 300 years. I'm saying person has been living for 300, like a person who's been living in their ancestral home in the same area for 300 years as in their family. Come on. What are some examples of the difference in rights and religions in Israel? For example, a Palestinian citizen of Israel cannot marry someone who is a Palestinian in the West Bank and bring them into citizenship. Okay? Palestinian citizens of Israel can be forcibly removed from an area, can be denied living space in an area. It is the law. It is literally the law. Okay? Jewish Israelis can create Jewish enclaves inside of Israel where they can remove Palestinian citizens of Israel from said enclaves. A Jewish citizen of Israel can marry a Palestinian, but they need to renounce their citizenship. I don't know if they have to renounce their citizenship. They just can't like bring their partner into Israel. Anyway, dedicated to those who still peddle the lie that Palestinians with Israeli citizenship live in a democracy. This is from Lieutenant Colonel of the Home Front Command. It will be completely prohibited to wave the Palestinian flag in any institution or street inside the territory of the state of Israel. The waiver can expect prison sentence for treason and exile from the state of Israel or support. First gets their citizen gets transferred to the West Bank or Gaza if there's anything left of it. We can marry a different religion if it's in a different country, much like gay marriage. No. I'm not saying that you can't marry. Miscegenation is frowned upon, but still allowed. Gay marriage is frowned upon, but still allowed. That's why every single Israeli that gets gay married is doing it in fucking Cyprus, okay? Government benefits are not shelled out equally. The rate of benefits dispersed to Arab Israelis are 67% lower than other Israelis, despite being the poorest ethnic group in the nation, in the region. What is this? You know, if you're not Jewish, you can only legally marry a non-Jewish person inside Israel. Otherwise, it's always abroad. There's a legal loophole where you get married inside of Israel if married by an official in Utah via Zoom meeting. 2 girlfriends of mine are getting married this way in a couple months. That's crazy. Anyway, just a lot of cool stuff happening in Israel. Definitely not fucking stuff that we know. Ironically enough, in the darkest irony, things that happen to direct descendants of the people that are now dishing it out to an entirely random group of people. Like literally just the same shit. It's Nazi shit. It's Hitlerian. Okay? Less than, hasn't even been a fucking 100 years since that happened. There are still direct descendants. There are still direct survivors that are alive right now. Good thing that America is on definitely the wrong side of history this time around. Video of the ADL saying the major problem with Israel is the young generation of black community. Wait, what?
Israel is with the young generation of the black community. Black Lives Matter starts.
Bro, is that a fucking South African? Is that? Please tell me this is a South African person who is now who now lives in Israel or in the United States of America. Oh my God, the way she said black. Oh my God, that's a South African. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Of course the ADL. Judith Varney Shorer, former Israeli consul general in Atlanta. That's so funny. It's just like, it's like this, okay? Apartheid South Africa and Israel were like this, okay? We're like this for obvious fucking reasons. The ADL quite literally spied on American Jews, American labor union members, American civil rights advocates during the South African apartheid regime and collaborated with the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, literally collaborated with the apartheid South African government. That's why I call them the Apartheid Defense League. Okay?
Black Lives Matter starts there. I had last week a dinner, sit-down dinner at my house with 40 people, which are considered the leadership of the black community.
Legit, I would have never known about any of the shit the ADL have been up to for decades if I didn't start watching you years ago. Yep.
Where they can be part of our doing an activity.
Dr. Clarence B. Jones, who wrote the draft speech for Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream. He was his lawyer, he was his close friend. He's somebody that I reached out to. He became a very close and personal friend.
I don't think she's South African, but she said blacks in the exact same way. Anyway, let's get to our fucking homegrown fascists, okay? Let's get to our homegrown gay fascists here. Give me a quick TLDR. I missed what you meant with the Defense League. The Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, is the Apartheid Defense League, okay? That is what it actually stands for. During the apartheid South African regime, the ADL, which is, a Israeli-American collaborative effort, was spying on American Jews who were protesting against the South African apartheid. They were collaborating with the South African apartheid government. Anyway.
and I wouldn't say that I have fully developed views on this, but to me, what it is sort of a value system to replace the fact that they're all fundamentally atheist or agnostic. They have no real value system. Their only value system is achieve.
You're a dupe. You're a dumbass. If you think that like religion, dude, I swear to God, this is some like primitive shit, dude. You're a fucking ape. If you literally are like, I have no values. I have no value system if it wasn't for Christianity. You're a baboon, okay? I'm sorry. Straight up. Like, I have no problem with religion, okay? You guys know this. You guys understand this. I say it all the time. You know, if you want to fucking practice whatever religion you want to practice, it's fine as long as you don't encroach on others' rights. But the moment that you fucking the moment that I hear someone turn around and be like, you know, without religion, I would have no moral system. You're a fucking ape, dude. What do you mean? So, like, if religion didn't tell you that, like, rape is wrong, you would just be out there raping? It's akin to the same fucking idiots that say, oh, without the law, we would be doing crazy shit. It's like, that's the thing stopping you? I am now under threat around you, okay? When I hear someone say this, when I hear someone be like, oh, it's the law that's like stopping me from doing certain things, I'm like, you're a fucking weirdo, dog. When I hear someone going, it's religion that's giving me my moral values, my moral system, I'm like, that's weird, bro. You're a weird guy, okay? You would be a fucking sociopath without it, I guess. Well, you are a sociopath. We know that already. What the fuck? Like, you have no care or consideration for your fellow man without like rules in a rule book? What the fuck do you mean? It is insane to me. It is insane to me that people in 2024 openly say things like this, for the record. It blows my fucking mind. And it's not just religion either. Like I said, when someone says, dude, if it wasn't for the law, people would be doing crazy shit. People would just be doing mass rapes and shit. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not an advocate for no laws in general, but that's an insane thing. Like, you think society's being held together? Like, you would be just going around doing mass rapes and serial killing if it wasn't for the fucking law? What's wrong with you? What a fucking insane statement, dude. The fuck? This guy, this type of person would have had their skull bashed with a rock immediately during primitive accumulation, okay? They'd be like, oh, this guy's bad news, bro. We have to deal with him. They would literally get together. The village would get together and be like, we have to fucking kill this person with whatever blunt object we can find because he is literally trying to go around and fucking rape people. Like, straight up. What the fuck, dude? Yeah, get the highest fucking rock that we can get to and dump him off that rock immediately. Head down.
In a very conventional way. And so the idea that somehow they're pursuing racial or gender equity is like the value system that gives their life meaning. Well, of course, they all find that value system leads to misery.
What would you say about previous ages in Europe where raping and raiding were the norm for certain nations? Yeah, I would say that we now have religion, and that still hasn't really changed. It's just that, like, we've softened that approach, and you don't get to see it that much. You know, since we're talking about the most moral nation on the planet earlier, they made one of their concentration camp prison guards who was detained for rape into a television star overnight, with 60% of society saying he should not be prosecuted for raping a Palestinian to death at all. So, you know, people have done rapes without religion. People have done rapes with religion. It doesn't really matter, okay?
Leads to unhappiness. And so I think that what happens is, like, whenever you really pursue something, right? Like, let's say a doctor gives you a medicine to cure a disease and it doesn't work, right? The patient gets worse. Well, you can conclude one of two things. Either the medicine isn't working or the patient was...
Bro said the fucking Holy Crusades, when they were happening, no rape and raiding was happening. No rape and pillaging was happening during the Holy Crusades. Okay? Like, you know.
Was so sick that what they need is even more. Whenever you really pursue something, right? Like, let's say a doctor gives you a medicine to cure a disease and it doesn't work, right? The patient gets worse. Well, you can conclude one of two things. Either the medicine isn't working or the patient was so sick that what they need is even more of the medicine that you originally prescribed. And I think the gender inequity stuff is like, we need more of the medicine. Okay, clearly this value set has made me a miserable person who can't have kids because I already, passed the biological period when it was possible.
I think automatically being around JD Vance makes one a miserable person. So he's thinking like, all the women around me are miserable. It must be because of society and not because I keep talking about how modernity has caused women to be depressed because they can't have children after a biological age. No, dude, it's you, bro. You're doing it. You're poison for the vibes, okay? Frustrated by the fact that the people that like you the least in this fucking country are people from the place that you are the senator of, okay? Your approval ratings are one of the few ways that we can actually scientifically look at how your vibes are, okay? As close to an objective analysis that we can get is your approval rating. It has never been popular. It has never been above board. You have been underwater, and the more people hear from you, the more they hate you.
And I live in a 1,200 square foot apartment in New York, and I pay $5,000 a month for it. But I'm really better than these other people. What I'm gonna do is project my like racial and gender sensitivities on the rest of them. And like the reason that our society is broken is because these people don't think.
Great argument, man. Nerdy and also boring and also shitty. This is like when you don't even have the charisma. At least Tucker Carlson is like capable of like crafting an argument that the dumbest person can follow along with. JD Vance doesn't have that either. So he like turns around and makes like the classic reactionary argument for the absolute worst people in society, just like the most boring and annoying motherfuckers out there, basically cutting into something that most people would likely, with a charismatic orator, could at least follow along. You are looking at constructs, okay, that are inherently oppressive that we take for granted in society. Patriarchy. It is the easiest thing to do. Being a misogynist is so fucking easy, dude. It's so easy. I sometimes do it without even recognizing it, okay? It's easier than serving the 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. That's how easy it is, which I specifically serve to the 24% women in this audience at the top of every hour. How do you fuck up being misogynistic? Like how? How do you negatively polarize people in a patriarchal society to fucking hate misogyny? That's how bad your fucking vibes are, dude. That's crazy, okay? That's crazy to me. The 3-minute ad break is here, by the way. For those of you who have not subscribed, you will be seeing it. Here it is. Like, it blows my mind, dude. It blows my fucking mind. How do you fuck up making an argument like women be shopping? Like, how do you fuck that up? It's the easiest thing to do, okay? Like, women have a genetic predisposition to be biological caretakers of children, femoids. Femoids want to genetically take care of children, and when they can't, they become sociopathic child cat ladies, and they are depressed, and then they use that depression to attack everyone around them. And it's like, dude, oh my God. Oh my fucking God. Why did you do this? Why did you explain, like how did you turn something that is so easy to fucking craft a narrative strategy around into something that is so unappealing that you are literally, in an Elon Musk style fashion, causing people to negatively polarize against misogyny, which is good ultimately. So congratulations. It doesn't make sense. It actually doesn't make sense at all. Like, all you need to do is just be like, look around, you know? Republicans used to do this very well. They would be like, it's common sense. It's common sense. It's common sense. They would take advantage of the existing, they would take advantage of the pre-existing cultural things that we have adopted as norm, okay? As the norm. Do you understand what's easy about being a misogynist? What do you mean? Just lean into, what are the Pokemon on your shirt is a car. Their cars fucking each other. What's easy about being a misogynist is the easiest thing of all time. You just need, it requires zero fucking reading. It requires you to be the dumbest person possible. It requires zero reading. It requires you to just point to things that are existing in society, constructs that already exist in society that people take for granted. All you got to do is look around, be like, yeah, women are fucking upset. That's all you need to say. Women are upset because they have to work. This is Trump's VP. Dude has some real 4chan vibes. Yeah. He's doing too much of the weird European pro-natalist trad wife shit. Exactly. Is it too late to replace them? Nope. They're locked in,
that I
baby.
think. Even though the way that I think has made me a miserable person, I just need to make more people think like that. So we're going to teach this in our schools, in our universities, even
Like, they think this is a real, like, they think, and this is the problem, they think that there is like a secret strategy that is making people woke, okay? And that's why their counter strategy fails, because their counter strategy turns everything into Twitter, and it causes people to unironically think that these like right-wing sentiments are more popular in the real world outside of fucking Twitter than they actually are. That is the problem, okay? The problem is these right-wing social constructs exist and are born out of the material conditions that people experience on a day-to-day basis, okay? So you can move the needle in the right-wing direction with culture without like trying too much, but you can't combat that. You can't combat that with like, you know, woke movies or whatever. If that was the case, the most woke culture period was probably the Trump administration, where like liberals were so goddamn woke. They were so fucking woke. What happened? Did society become more woke magically because like all of our fucking movies were woke? No. You can't combat against material realities and the social constructs that are born out of material realities with more social constructs in the opposite direction. You can't do that. But having said that, simultaneously, most people do have that attitude, that communal attitude inside of them. They want to work with one another. They collaborate with one another. Unless you live in like a super segregated community, you are always going to be more open-minded. That's why urban areas end up going in the Democrat direction. That's why college-educated men and women end up voting in the Democrat direction. Not to say that the Democrats are fucking great. Obviously, they're not. But they are at least positioning themselves as more open-minded and more tolerant to diversity than the other side is. Because when you are around other people, you start to recognize that they are not these like weird deities, these demons in the shadows that you thought they were from your segregated enclave that you exist in.
in our elementary schools, because once everybody agrees with me, then everything will finally come full.
Like women didn't learn that like, oh, I have to work and I have to have like certain civil liberties. Like they wanted it. They fought for it. They got it. Okay. If you had talked to a single fucking woman that isn't like a psychotic rabid right winger, they would probably educate you on this matter. As a matter of fact, I know you have, because you went to fucking Yale and you used to be woke. So I know you know this. You're just LARPing in the opposite direction. Nothing here is genuine, which I think also plays into him being a horrible communicator of these kinds of like right-wing ideologies, because he just like adopted it to win favor with the base as a careerist.
Full circle, and we'll have a happy, healthy society.
Yeah. If we teach women that, like, we taught women woke, okay? That's why they want to take birth control. That's why they want jobs. If we teach women unwoke, they won't want to do that. By the way, this attitude is no different than like thinking that, again, black people are somehow different, okay, from the rest of society, and that they've been taught that, desegregating society is good, and that's why they now have all of these problems, okay? Like it denies autonomy from the group that you are talking about, that they are just like easily duped, okay? That they do not want they don't have their own personal wants, their own personal aspirations, that they don't have like any sort of say in this process. They're just being duped by fucking woke liberal media into thinking that they want freedoms and equal rights and equal opportunity to succeed. Trump says their Project 2025 plan is to give Trump total unchecked legal power so they can jail and execute those who don't support Trump if he wins.
Should Democrats be in jail? No question. When Donald Trump gets elected, should he start locking them up? No question. Should there be lists of Democrats that need to go to jail? 100%. And the reason for that is they've committed crimes. We need to make sure that when Donald Trump wins, we've got an attorney general, a deputy attorney general, a head of the CIA and the FBI. Kash Patel would be fantastic. We can have attorney general. There's some names floating around. And then they can...
Why are they showing this liberal political commentator who is a centrist liberal? I don't understand. This makes no sense to me.
Start having their investigators and the feds issuing subpoenas, pulling up evidence, and with real evidence, bring them to judges for warrants. Then these people can spend three years of their lives fighting tooth and nail for the crime against the government for crimes they committed, and we can prove. Yeah. And the reason why we put them on trial is that we can show the whole world we will uncover what you've done. We will make sure everyone knows, and you will be held accountable for it.
Not just
he's a centrist liberal with a wife and children. Obviously, I'm confused.
Jail. They should get the death penalty.
Azan, would you watch that segment that Cody showed you about Tim Pool that ruins his early career? I do want to. Oh God! Oh my God! Oh fuck! Oh ew! 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 I didn't realize that. I didn't realize who was on the other side of that. Okay. Oh my God! I'm sorry for the Laura Loomer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you guys got to see that. I apologize profusely. Okay. Oh, trigger warning. All right, let's do it. Tim Pool's world's worst guesser. I'm gonna go pee real quick. I have to play this while I play the while I go pee. I'll be back.
Trump got shot. Hey Tim, how's the lawsuit going for you? I am talking about, and to, Timothy Tim Pool, who back in April was named in a libel suit against several right-wing pundits who falsely accused a random dude of being a mass shooter. This included Tim doing that thing I just said. And listen, hey, don't worry, Tim fans out there. He will be fine. Tim Pool's podcast company, Timcast, makes, according to Tim, 8 figures a year. And why wouldn't it? With such a creative name like Timcast, of course he has 1.7 million YouTube subscribers. You see, he took his name Tim and he combined it with podcast. He's a modern Oscar Wilde, he is. The impodcast of hearing ear nest. Tim is so rich that he has his own compound / studio / skate park with several employees. I'm sure it's really cool. Perhaps we'll look at that later and see how cool it is. Anyway, what's a little libel suit for accusing someone of being a mass shooter? And while we'll perhaps maybe certainly talk about that specific mass shooting later, it's honestly surprising that Tim Pool hadn't been sued for libel earlier in his career. Because here's some news. Tim Pool, the guy and self-proclaimed journalist that this video is in fact about, just might be the absolute worst guesser in the entire world. Really. But first, our new and only time it's a segment. Hey Tim Pool, have you considered that pool is a lot closer to pod than Tim? Well, have you? Segment over. Anyway, hey, did you hear that someone tried to assassinate former President Donald Trump? Look it up and be careful with your wording, but yeah, it's in the news right now. A lot of questions around the shooter's motivation and how they were even able to get that close, etc. I'm being vague because it just happened and I'm not going to make any wild guesses about the event before we get all the information. But don't worry, Tim will, and has. Almost immediately, Tim guessed that the innocent bystander who was killed in the bleacher was the shooter and tweeted that out with no care in the world. Hey Tim, did you learn nothing from the last time you accused someone of being a shooter? My goodness, Tim. But it's not just that. Tim has so many bad guesses about the Trump shooting. He's already guessed that the photo of Trump after the attack is just like the Iwo Jima flag-raising photograph, a symbol of unity and valor. I don't think Tim knows what that picture was of, just that it's iconic. Is it just because both pictures have flags in them? Who can say? And of course, Tim has guessed repeatedly that this is some kind of conspiracy involving the Secret Service, which is honestly a topic we might have to get into in an entirely different episode. And even more, of course, Tim guessed, before we knew anything about the shooter, that this was all Joe Biden's fault somehow. Joe Biden, the first and only person to use fiery rhetoric when Trump is involved. Tim is very concerned about the Democrats inciting violence all of a sudden, which is funny for perhaps reasons we will talk about later. Point here being that even in this very politically charged moment where we have very little information, Tim is more than happy to instantly guess very badly about things that perhaps he should just keep quiet about for a little while, because he claims to be a journalist and should thus know better. But perhaps more importantly, because he's never, ever correct. Tim Pool is such a bad guesser that there are multiple Twitter accounts devoted to posting clips of him guessing badly. That's right, his terrible guesses are so frequent that they are guaranteed weekly content like funny cat videos. Shout out to those accounts from which we will be using a lot of clips, and to the Majority Report with the famously middle-aged Sam Cedar, who regularly checks in with Tim Pool's bad guesses because, again, they are so frequent that you can just do that. He's great content. Hot con he is. He's also, and this is important, a weird, sad little mean-spirited creep with a Civil War fetish who is perpetually courting Nazis and right-wing extremists for money. And so we figured we'd just spend an episode aggregating and discussing all of those bad guesses, like we're a BuzzFeed article, or all of you not olds out there, one of those TikToks that montages like Reddit posts about incest over videos of some crap called Coin Jogger. My point is, we're not breaking new ground here, but it's just so fun. It's so fun to talk about Tim Pool, the worst guesser in the entire world and throughout all of human history. Congratulations, Tim. You get an award. Sorry. Now you get a lawsuit. Tim Pool, world's worst guesser. So what do I mean by worst guesser, you ask? That's such a good question. You're so smart. Well, going back to that lawsuit and the mass shooting that led to it, in May of 2023, a neo-Nazi named Mauricio Martinez Garcia killed 8 people and wounded another 7 at a Dallas area shopping center. Garcia wore a right-wing death squad patch during the shooting. He also had a swastika and SS tattoos and made numerous anti-Semitic and racist posts online. More on all that later. But the point is that when this happened, a lot of right-wing pundits really wanted the shooter to not be right-leaning. Makes sense. They're probably just so sick of all these right-wing shooters. What's with that? So when this news came out and the shooter's identity was still being determined, Tim, along with Newsmax and Steven Crowder and other people, identified a completely different Mauricio Garcia. And, you know, a totally easy mistake to make unless you're a public figure or news pundit or proclaimed journalist with a huge audience who should perhaps wait before randomly accusing innocent people of a mass shooting. But instead of waiting or fact-checking, they all just guessed it was this other guy. They guessed wrong, and now they're getting sued. And while you may notice that Tim wasn't the only bad guesser in the bunch, for him, this comes after and before a long line of terrible guesses he perpetually poses on his show. As I already said, his show is literally just Tim skimming headlines in real time and guessing about random stuff. Just thinking aloud into a microphone after ingesting a fraction of information, sometimes to amazing results.
Disney, I got a solution for you. Cut the woke garbage. Get back to American traditional values, meritocracy, individuality, personal responsibility, and community all together. And it may seem paradoxical, individuality with community. No, it's because we respect the individual's rights, but also the importance of working together with shared moral foundations.
I think Tim Pool is, alongside Dave Rubin, one of the best examples, like a living, breathing example of a Hasanabi broadcast lock that you guys have heard time and time again, which is that if you want to be a grifter, being a right-winger is automatic. Like, you have to be a right-wing grifter because it's incredibly fucking easy. It is incredibly easy to be a right-wing grifter. You just need to say the words, okay? That's it. That's all you need to do. It requires no research. As a matter of fact, it's anti-research. You have to literally look at all of this information that is being blasted in your fucking face and cast aside, okay? Cast aside logic, critical thinking, all of that, and just be like, no, it's because of my firmly held beliefs that a thing that is happening in the way that I think it's happening.
Start restoring that. and maybe you wouldn't have to lay people off, because they specifically point out woke controversy. Here's the story. The cuts come out of the company reported profits of $23.51 billion, which exceeded analysts' expectations. So, I mean, look, that's still good for them.
Wow, that is very funny. Ha ha ha. Like, usually when we play a clip of Ben Shapiro or someone like that, we have to take time to explain why what they're saying is stupid or a lie, and then make a little joke about it. But that clip just did our jobs for us. A completely self-contained episode in that clip. Watch out, us. Tim is coming for our jobs.
It's so funny because, like, he goes off on a tangent off of, like, reading the headline of an article, thinking that the article is going to prove his point. And then in so many circumstances, the article that he, I guess, has the misfortune of, like, reading through immediately disproves his point. I don't understand it, especially because, like, do you have no fucking producers? Ben Shapiro knows to at least clip articles out of context, right? Like, it feels like he's just going into it because he saw something and then just, like, leaning in that direction. And then if he reads the entire fucking thing, he finds out very quickly that, like, he's in the wrong.
This happens amazingly often on Tim's show. He'll read a headline, make a really bad guess, and then prove himself wrong while skimming the article. Here's another quote of one of the many other times this has happened. And really, the only variation is how long it takes between those two moments. Sometimes, and this is really special, sometimes you'll catch Tim purposefully skipping over the parts of the article that prove his guesses wrong.
Like, this sometimes happens to me as well when I think, like, an article is actually going to show information, or sometimes people will send me an article that I haven't read yet, right? And the article is, like, disproving a thing that I'm talking about, right? But I scour through the article, and I find out the inconsistency usually, right? And if I'm wrong, I change my attitude. I change my opinion. That's what you're supposed to do, okay? Like, Tim, on the other hand, will literally immediately dive headfirst in one direction and just be found wrong instantaneously. Like, he does it all the time. Like the polling data from the other day. Exactly. The reason why I was contentious with the 60% of Americans want to give Israel more weapons or are comfortable with the weapons that we're giving Israel currently, the reason why that didn't make any sense, and my format is live, and so is Tim's usually, but the reason why that didn't make any sense is not because, like, oh, this doesn't correspond to my worldview. It's because obviously I've seen a shit ton of polling on this specific matter that was the exact diametrical opposite of what this article was claiming. So we looked at it, right? We looked at it and we found out that even the study itself showed exactly what I was saying. The study itself also very obviously showed that there was an inconsistency with the way that CNN had clipped that article or clipped that poll out of context. Okay? Tim doesn't have that, though, because he's on vibes alone. He's not looking at polls on his off time. He's not actually reading and trying to do research on his off time. He's just going live. And what's shocking to me is that he could conduct this in the silly way that he's doing, as long as he got his producers to, like, clip certain parts of the article so he could clip chimp it. This would literally make him a better political commentator, a better propagandist for the right. But it's shocking to me that even though he has all those, like, other people in the peanut gallery, none of them actually do exactly that.
Hoping we won't notice. Here is a beautiful example shown in YouTuber Timba on Toast's incredible 2-episode Tim Pose.
Only 22% of Trump voters actually see the rich-poor gap as a very big problem, versus 77% of Democratic voters. This shoots a pretty big hole in Tim's branding of the Democrats as uncaring, wealthy elites. They're manifestly far more concerned with the plight of poor Americans than their opponents in the opposition party. Watch as Tim starts to read this paragraph and then actively cuts himself off as he realizes that it's not information that's going to play well.
Why is Timba on Toast making Tim Pool vids? He has some of the best Tim Pool vids out there. It makes me really sad that he's, like, also a fucking Destiny orbiter who, like, I think doesn't really like me. Because like his video His videos on Taboola are pretty fucking solid.
With his audience.
The new national survey by Pew Research Center finds the majorities of GOP voters view several issues as either very big or moderately big problems facing the country. For example, okay, you get the point, right? I don't want to go too far into a lot of the poll stuff. I don't want to get crazy in the nitty gritty. I want to keep it to the main points that I'm trying to make.
That's his favorite. He loves jumping away from the nitty gritty. He hates that. He hates the nitty and the gritty.
Hey, I kind of understand why someone might watch Tim's show, if only for this reason. It's the political version of Jackass. Just one guy with absolutely zero reading comprehension punching himself in the dick over and over. The joy is waiting to see how long it'll take him to do the obvious. It's like a fun little game.
Minnesota has announced a new flag. That's right, the last one was considered racist, and so they're getting rid of it. The interesting thing, however, is that the new flag Minnesota is presenting and has chosen looks an awful lot like the flag of Jubaland in Somalia. The reason people are taking issue with this is, well, it may be coincidental. I don't necessarily think so, but it's not like it's the actual flag of Somalia as a country. It's one state in Somalia, so it's, I don't know. This one's kind of weird.
I don't know. It's kind of
My man's been hitting the Minnesota is overtaken by secret Somalis for a minute.
Weird.
Respect.
So in this clip, he says the new Minnesota state flag, which looks like this, was designed to look like the flag of Jubaland, Somalia, which looks like this. So no, it doesn't. You can literally just see that they don't look similar. This is like what flags look like. But Tim Pool didn't bother to just look and see what the flags are before he started recording. He was so incurious about this story that he was repeating on the air that he didn't even do a 2-second wiki search. Like, sure, I could tell you about how the new Minnesota flag was picked and how it was part of a contest where 2 of the finalists had their designs merged, but why do I need to? They are 2 very different flags. Here they are, being different. And so you just have to wait on the edge of your seat for Tim to realize this very easy to research fact. It's like that shot in Hereditary, but with a fact looming over in the darkness, ready to strike. And eventually, Tim does look up what the flag looks like. But by the time he does, he's already completely committed to this idea and has to sweatily pivot.
Whether or not they intentionally wanted to make the Minnesota flag look like the flag of Jubaland in Somalia. It's not the Somali flag. Somali flag is just blue. Whether or not, the truth is not what matters. I care about truth. I think the truth matters tremendously. My point is, when it comes to conflict, perception is what matters. And if many people on the right perceive this as subversion, it's subversion.
What is he even talking about at that point? If enough people believe this is true, then it is.
By the way, he nailed it though. He nailed it. He's right. And that is how a lot of right-wing propagandists operate. Okay? If we say enough delusional shit and enough of our audience are delusional enough to believe the delusional shit, we can create this collective psychosis, and half of the country has to deal with that now. Okay? So much of like the conversations that we now have are actually actively pushing back against this collective psychosis. Okay? It's straight up like so many of the major political issues in this country are born out of right-wing hallucinations. Okay? Literally. One of the best examples leading up to the primaries was the crime hysteria, and liberals absolutely caved and capitulated to the right-wing framing on this issue, and it became this massive problem. And now everybody's writing think pieces like, why are people so deluded about crime? Why do people think their hometowns are safe, but everyone else's towns are really fucking violent and scary? I wonder why. Okay? The current conversation, classroom litter boxes was another one. Obviously, trans panic is a big one. But right now, the biggest one is immigration. Donald Trump keeps repeating lies about how immigrants are coming in to do violent crimes in this country, okay? Is literally, objectively untrue, okay? If you look at the data, That is not what's happening at all. As a matter of fact, the data shows is the exact opposite is happening in terms of like immigrants, undocumented migrants, and their share of crime, okay, across the board. And yet, we are now trapped in this panic-driven news cycle where like a significant percentage of the population does believe this lie, okay? Local news pushes the lie. Network television pushes the lie or doesn't push back against the lie. Post-birth abortions is another one, right? Obviously, that's not as consequential because people are more predisposed currently or more aware currently of their own immediate civil liberties being taken away. But having said that, there is a real and very effective way to brain rot entire segments of society. And then, if you don't actually push back against it with reason, facts, logic, truth, evidence, then you're left dealing with the fallout of that. And God forbid you lean into it. Okay? Yeah, another great example of this. There you go. Thank you, KO Fishy. Remember when anti-vaxxers were predicting huge waves of vaccine deaths and it never happened? And they just pretended that it happened anyway with the died suddenly shit? Yeah, exactly. It never happened. And then they just made it up. And we're like, oh, all these random people that are dying, they're dying because of the vaccine. And that was enough for a lot of people because, like, most people, when they get really invested in a narrative, they don't want to shake themselves from this collective delusion. There is a feeling of comfort and security that you get. It's like a comfortable blanket that you surround yourself with, and you dive further and further. It's cult-like thinking, okay?
What is this, Tinkerbell rules? Tim, isn't your job as a reporter or pundit or journalist or whatever you think you are to report on the truth of something so that a lie doesn't get turned into a, quote, truth? You know how people might be stopped from believing it's true? By you reporting that it's not. So ultimately, it's clear he just got tricked by a fake story in real time and doesn't have the humility to admit it. And we all get to watch him tap dance around it like an improv performer, pretending the audience suggestion was get an erection. You can probably see what the problem is at this point. Tim sees other live podcasts and news shows and thinks, why not me? But that question actually has an answer. It's not rhetorical. The reason why not Tim is because Tim is clearly very bad at analyzing the news. And what we get instead is this silly grifter.
Yeah, this is correct. Gremlo. This is the cultist dilemma. Once the day prophecy comes and the spaceship doesn't come to take you, the believers don't abandon the cult because that would require, like, that there's a sunk cost there. That would require you to re-examine everything that you've known, that you have internalized, that you know is the truth to be false. And that is obviously really fucking terrifying. A leap that you have to take in the other direction. That's scary. So what do people do? They double down because the truth is more painful than most followers can take. This is an examined phenomena, by the way. It's not just like a made up thing. This happens all the fucking time. The problem now is that this cultish thinking is baked into right-wing sentiment. It's baked into liberal sentiment as well, in some ways, okay? For sure. Someone in the chat I saw was talking about being a right-winger and like falling into this trap and then, being appreciative that like my commentary got him out of it. But also, there was another guy who was like, yeah, the Russiagate stuff as a liberal like really sucked me in, where I started seeing like Russian operatives in every corner. The Jesus lover. Kamala Harris supports afterbirth abortions. Do not vote for her. She is pure evil. I love that like someone in the chat is either A, LARPing, or B, genuinely giving us a real example of exactly what I'm talking about. I hope you're sincere, by the way, because I love you and I will not actually ban you for saying the truth. Keep fighting the good fight, brother. Jesus appreciates it.
Jazz, where he just sort of skiddly bops some stuff that he thinks sounds like the truth, then learns in real time that he is wrong. Or oftentimes, enough time passes that he just hopes we all forget how wrong he was. Oh, do we have something COVID related? I bet he had some very bad COVID guesses. I will bet you $10.
Look at this. Number of U.S. deaths per day has not spiked. Look at where it was early on. And now it's actually, there's a spike right here. It's a little spike. It's going up, and we're worried about that. And I can understand saying we need to take precautions to prevent this spike from skyrocketing. But take a look at cases. Number of new infections per day is higher than it's ever been, but the death rate is way, way, way down. I'm not convinced we're facing extreme circumstances just yet.
What time was he covering this? 2020, November of 2020?
Yeah, I cheated because I done already saw that clip. You see, Tim, I read the articles and watch the videos before we record. Anyway, that's from November 17th, 2020, just a few weeks before one of the deadliest months of the pandemic. Because even without hindsight, it's very, very stupid to predict that a pandemic is going to be a breeze right before the holiday season. Hey, Tim.
Oh, you know who else did that? Elon Musk. You know who else did that? Donald Trump. You know who else did that? The entirety of the Republican Party. I'm hearing murmurs from people I know in the IDF that they're preparing for a Lebanon invasion. Take it with a big grain of salt, but it's very scary. Time without an OO. There's a chatter in here. There's an Israeli chatter in here who has the opportunity to interview Kojat, an official from Kojat, and he was wondering what kind of questions we should ask them. And I thought you would probably have a better answer for that chatter. Y'all at me? And that's all I see on my mobile. There's a banned video of Hillary at the DNC telling Obama that they were drinking baby blood and eating their brains. Wake up. Killing babies is murder. Y'all need to repent. Oh my God, this guy's awesome. Wow, so killing babies is okay now. What the fuck? I really hope that this guy is correct. Chatter, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you're in the baby murder central. You know, this community is fundraised to do more baby murder. We love drinking the blood of babies. Time without an OWO. What would you ask the Kojat officials if you had an opportunity? Can you give me the chatter's name? I forgot what the other chatter's name was. Does anyone else remember? Or is that chatter still in here? Not the Jesus lover, dude. The fucking Israeli chatter who has the opportunity. No, stop adding Jesus lover. Was it Mr. Squirtle? Oh, here it is. Mr. Squirtle. This is the chatter. Suspicious account. Well, they're pumping bestie marks in here. The one time. It's a sock troll account, probably. The real Jesus Christ, the real Jesus Christ 42069 is having a separate conversation with the Jesus lover, saying, "Bow before me, child." Y'all eat baby brains. All right.
Bad guess. By the way, Tim's bad guesses aren't limited to video. Here he is on Twitter claiming that Australia is putting people who might have COVID into a concentration camp. For the record, they weren't doing that. He's referring to the Howard Springs quarantine camp that the government housed people in. And while it's not a 5-star experience, by all accounts, it was just like staying in a cheap hotel. Sometimes with raves. Okay, what other hilarious guesses do we have? Oh, here's one from November 2020, right before the election.
I think Donald Trump is looking at a potential landslide. I'm not exaggerating.
This is my favorite. Centrist liberal Tim Pool making a prediction about the 2020 election, which, of course, as you guys know, came to be true.
There's been periods where in the past where I was like, Trump's going to landslide for these reasons. And then there was some negative things that happened. And I'm like, wow, this is starting to look bad for Trump, actually. Now I'm starting to be more convinced that Trump is on track for a landslide. Notably, he's going after New York. Boom, there it is. The Democrats didn't buy any of this ad space. Why? Donald Trump's going to win. Trump is going to win. I'm convinced. Absolutely convinced.
Oh, so close. Very funny he honed in on New York, a state that Biden won by about 2 million votes. Bad guess, Tim. Tim is generally very bad at guessing when it comes to serious political matters, specifically around Trump. I wonder why. After Trump lost the election, Tim continued to guess that his election fraud grift would pay off. Here he is on December 8th of 2020, getting very excited about the news that Texas was challenging the election results.
How about this? Texas sues Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin at Supreme Court over election rules. This suit was filed just before midnight on the 7th. And it is now, in the wee early hours of the morning as I record this. Many outlets probably haven't even been able to catch up. Let's read the story, and then we have a breakdown of exactly why they're probably going to win this one. And this is huge. This is going to change the outcome of the election. In my opinion,
like, does no one ever get mad in his audience? Like, this is something that I truly don't understand. Like, do you just never get mad that you're always wrong? Like, if you listen to Tim Pool, you're just wrong so consistently, and then everyone makes fun of you. Do you just not have any fucking friends that are like, dog, what happened to that fucking, like, if you're repeating Tim Pool's opinions, right? Like, we had that in this community when I said Russia won't invade Ukraine. We had that. It's my most like public, you were definitely wrong moment, right? And plenty of people who were probably repeating those talking points, okay, were yelled at by their friends. I got fucking canceled over it. You know what I mean? People still bring that shit up. But like, but also nobody thought RU would. Yes, that's fine. That's besides the point. I'm just still saying that, like, this is a thing that people bring up all the goddamn time in a sea of times where I've proven to be right when all of those naysayers were objectively in the wrong. None of that matters. Ultimately, my point is like, how the fuck do you not feel even like a little bit embarrassed to be like, let me see what the other side is saying? You know, this is what does not make sense to me. And that's the other thing. If I was a fucking grifter, I would have kept it. I would have kept up, like, you know, if I was the person that my haters claim I am, I'd be pro Russia right now. I'd be pushing Z hard as fuck. But I guess my haters, much like Tim Pool, with their reactionary mindset, do maintain that that facade that I am pro Russia. But I just don't understand, like, how you can watch a political commentator and watch him be so objectively wrong, like so unimaginably wrong on such a basic thing. Okay, like Donald Trump is going to win every American state except for like one, is such an insane fucking thing to say. And then doubling down on it and being like, no, he actually did win. He's gonna win any day now. And like, not a single person turns around and goes like, yeah, maybe I'm not gonna listen to this guy anymore.
We'll see. We'll see. And he did see. Literally 4 days later, when that lawsuit was thrown out by the Supreme Court. Bad guess, Tim. Tim had some other bad guesses during that initial Trump election fraud chaos. Here he is around that same time, completely falling for the claim by Trump's lawyers that surveillance footage showed Georgia election workers secretly stuffing ballots from a suitcase hidden under the table.
There is a black table for some reason.
It's pretty funny because, like, I was covering this exact same shit in real time. And every single one of these things, every single one of these stories, I also covered in the diametrical opposite viewpoint as Tim Pool. And I was right on every single one. Like, it's funny to see, like, all of these, because people would come in, probably because they saw a Tim Pool clip or something, and would bring forward this evidence, this bombshell evidence, right? And I would be like, hey, man, I don't think this video shows what you think it shows. Like, one of the things that I always love pointing to is this fascinating thing that, like, a lot of dumb people do, where they will look at like a Plex thing that they were not privy to and will explain it as though it's nefarious and scary. And you can do that virtually about everything. The example I use regularly is the process in which, like, every American born on U.S. soil is assigned a fucking number, okay? The scary authoritarian government assigns a number that dictates where you were born and at what time you were born. This number is something that the government has access to, okay? Yeah. And that number is associated with, like, whether you're going to be able to, you know, purchase a car or rent. Like, it's very spooky when you think about it. And then you dive into it a little bit more and it's like, oh, never mind. That's like the process of having a social security number, you know? It's like, yeah, something that you take for granted that is a normal part of your existence can be portrayed in a very scary way. And if you're, like, oblivious to that, you know, it's terrifying. Do you understand?
Isn't in position, and once everybody leaves in the surveillance footage, they pull out a box of votes and begin counting. Now, the allegation is that The people working here told all the observers.
Oh yeah, the other example I use often is open heart surgery. People don't know how open heart surgery works. So when you describe to them in gruesome, you can do that about any medical procedure whatsoever. If you describe medical procedures in gruesome detail, it comes across as primitive, okay, and terrifying, which is a technique that conservatives often use when talking about like medicine and medical procedures that they don't like, things that trans people use, for example, or abortions, for example. Okay, you can do that about anything, and right-wingers do this all the time.
First, we're not counting anymore. You guys need to leave. People left. They then pull out ballots from under a table and begin counting. Occam's razor would suggest they told the observers to leave, as what the Trump campaign alleged, and then started counting ballots they pulled out from under a table. What's your explanation for this? That alone, to me, is a massive red flag. But then you add in 2 sworn affidavits, maybe more, from the GOP observers saying they were told to leave. And then you have the surveillance footage of the person telling them to leave and then pulling the ballots out. That makes no sense. I can only say that, to me, this is overwhelming evidence of legit, serious voter fraud.
Bad guess, Tim. If you're curious, unlike Tim, that story was easily debunked by the same surveillance footage showing that the hidden suitcase wasn't a suitcase and in fact was a ballot box that was brought in about an hour earlier in the tape. There are a few more details to it, but you can just read about it. I mean, Tim won't, but you can. Or you know what? You can just ask Tim Pool several years later when he pretended that he never fell for the election fraud lie.
I want Trump off of the election fraud stuff. There's videos showing ballots being pulled out from under tables and they're counted and everyone's like, oh, that proves it, all the fraud. And then when I correctly break down the story, because that's what I do for all subjects, now people are like, oh, now Tim finally understands. Dude, when people were claiming Trump was going to be reinstated in March, in February, in April, like no matter what happened, they were like, Trump will be truly inaugurated on this date. And I kept saying no. People attacked me for it. And then you have that video I mentioned where they're pulling ballots from under the table. Watch the full video. I watched the full video. They actually put they collect ballots from people like normal, put them in boxes, and at the end of the day, they pull them out to count them. But a lot of people didn't see those videos. That's why I say stop with the fraud narrative. It's a trap.
Okay. Hold on. So, years later, Tim heroically is claiming that he's always been a sage oasis of logic when it comes to the Trump election fraud claims and was in fact attacked for not believing the lie. And he specifically is calling out the surveillance footage story where everyone went, that proves all the fraud. Do we have a clip of that?
To me, this is overwhelming evidence of legit, serious voter fraud.
So you might think this is a lie. Because it is. But I have a theory here. Maybe it's naive, I don't know, but it's wild to me that Tim specifically calls out a story that he fell for in the past and completely retcons it like Homer Simpson recounting an event. Like, what a bad and easy to avoid lie. Why not just call out a different claim? Why would he set himself up so perfectly like this? So what if Tim genuinely doesn't realize it's a lie? A possible theory is that Tim Pool fell for the fraud claim, and then a bunch of people on Twitter told him he was an idiot, and the claim got debunked. And then years passed, and Tim only vaguely remembered the event. He didn't bother to check his old videos because he's extremely lazy, and likely just recalls that the video existed and someone thought it was election fraud proof, and then the video was debunked. And so he just assumed that he was the smart one in that memory. We all know someone like this, right? That friend or coworker who constantly re-remembers.
Okay, or some other third thing, which is he does not have object permanence.
There's events where they are always the funniest or wittiest,
like
who conveniently forgets the time they claimed that Gatorade was healthier for you than water and you should give it to babies. And you show up the next day at work with an article proving them wrong and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, Cody. Let's just sell this weed before lunch. They steal your jokes and stories and retell them to people like they did that thing. We've all known a Tim Pool. And if you haven't, I have some bad news for you. And so while I hoped that this would just be a fun episode where we play a bunch of silly and also terrible Tim guesses, it appears that we have to talk about the mechanics behind this beanieful mind, this idiosyncratic little fart in the wind, a deep dive into this shallow, shallow pool. So after the break, we'll do just that and continue to make fun of Tim's terrible guesses. Enjoy the ads. Try to hold your story was still with Ground News. I can look at nearly 30 limited access.
It's been a month. It's been a month.
I won the $10. That's $20 you owe me. Everyone mail me $20. If 600 is perhaps a professional liar, it's possible that the biggest lies are the ones he tells himself. And unlike a lot of the other grifters we've covered on this show, Tim's biggest but not only problem revolves around the fact that he is extremely tactless and comically easy to debunk. Other dildos like Jordan Peterson or Ben Shapiro often convolute their lies in a way where it takes longer to debunk the lie than to tell it. But Tim frequently debunks himself in the same breath. His entire shtick is that he live streams himself while badly guessing about various news headlines and half remembering his own convictions. And we watch in real time as his subconscious hastily rewrites his own narrative in order to protect his ego, like that guy in Memento. You know the guy. Pierce. But that's the how. The question we need to ask next is why? Why does Tim Pool do the things he does? I mean, money, okay. Easy question. How about this? Why does Tim Pool do the things he does so badly? It's not just that he guesses, but he guesses lazily. Often it seems like his mouth is just moving and his brain is catching up, which happens to us all sometimes. But unlike most people, Tim's mouth has some wild things to say. Hey, remember those Hawaii wildfires?
They want Taiwan. They're building up their military. There's a chance for escalation, a chance for conflict. They want the South China Sea. And then they've got ships with Russia coming near the Aleutians, coming near U.S. territory, going near Hawaii, and then they're pulling off something like this. So, look, how hard is it to start a fire? It's ridiculously easy.
Dude, this one, dude, oh my God. I forgot about this. I forgot that there was like a genuine amount, like a significant amount of people who literally think that like the Hawaiian wildfires actually were because of like Chinese space lasers. And of course, if I'm going to talk about something like that, I'm going to bring Ollie London. You know, Ollie London, the subject matter expert. This was only last year. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Chinese Jewish space lasers that are now Chinese space lasers. It's obvious how jealous you are of misinterpreting Tim Pool's outreach. Okay, dude. Yeah, sure.
Start a fire. And they can fire lasers?
Okay.
Sure, bud.
The Hawaii fires could be a Chinese laser, I guess. It could also be those downed power lines that were spotted right before the fire. But sure, maybe lasers. That's certainly a guess you could make if you're, like, an idiot. And that actually poses an interesting question. Is Tim Pool an idiot? I know, it's a wild theory, but hear me out. While I generally think that it's bad and counterproductive to hand-wave any movement or person as stupid, I think in this case, Tim Pool might just be a dumb and mean guy with a big ego who doesn't really believe in anything. And while I also believe the term Dunning-Kruger effect has been thrown around a lot, that's the term for someone so incompetent that they actually think they're a genius, and again, that gets tossed around a lot on the internet. But in this case, well...
The best female skaters in the world are as good as 12-year-old boys who've been skating for 4 months. You watch the women and you're like, I'm 38, semi-retired, and I could do all those tricks.
Yeah. Oh, Tim, you know there are videos of you skateboarding, don't you? You know that I can just cut to you skateboarding. Do you see, Tim? Why would you set yourself up like that? Tim.
But I do think it's crazy that I'm about to be 34 and I have no family. Because my dad had 2 kids by the time he was 27.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you know what the problem is, though? It's definitely not me. Mm-hmm. I think it's everybody else.
Oh, Tim! Tim, please stop saying things. You are breaking my heart. I don't know. Was he joking? Seems like something a comedian would say, all deadpan. I'm sure he's claimed it was a joke after the fact, but yeah, Tim, if you're struggling to find a partner, I don't know, man. Maybe it's stuff like this.
When they come out and they accuse Andrew Tate of being all of this evil stuff, how much can you really believe it? There's a challenge there because bad guys exist. There are people like Weinstein. They exist. Let's talk about Weinstein, however. Harvey, am I pronouncing it right? I don't know. This dude in Hollywood, they said that he was abusing all these women. It certainly seems like he'd abused a lot of them. But let's be real. Many of these women were abusing him. Oh, here comes the feminists all screaming and crying like, sorry, no, I'm just going to say it. How many women sought to bang Weinstein thinking it would get them a...
Oh my God. What the fuck? There ain't no way, dude. There ain't no fucking way, dog. There ain't no way he said that. Yo, bro's a villain, dude. That's crazy.
Leg up in Hollywood.
Oh, here come the feminazis getting mad at me for saying that.
Bro, even fucking like Republican, bro, even like the most loyal like MAGA people don't fucking defend Harvey Weinstein. What the fuck? Yo, this level of hating women should be illegal, honestly. Like when you hate women so much, when you hate women so fucking much that you end up saying the victim in the Harvey Weinstein situation was Harvey Weinstein, that's phenomenal, dude.
That the women Harvey Weinstein raped actually wanted it. See, ladies, Tim is just telling it like it is about your kind. Tim, women expert. Women who he...
And my mom loves watching him. Show your mom that clip. I mean, if she doesn't fucking comprehend that this is not a good guy, I don't know. See how easy it is to be misogynistic? I mean, yeah, but like, that's a little... You know, I think most normal people will look at that and go, hold on, what?
Apparently also thinks maybe shouldn't vote. Single. Not his fault. Your fault. But also other guys' fault too.
If this young woman, I mean, she looks like she's in her 20s, has only ever been around sneaky fucker types, male feminists, low T, weak men lacking passion.
This is one of my favorite things about Tim Pool is that he always talks about like male feminists who are low T or whatever the fuck. And it's like, bro, look at yourself. Like you're envisioning this cartoonish depiction of like a guy out there who is like a liberal or a leftist, but like, look at yourself, dog, please. What the fuck do you mean? Like, oh, these insecure low T male feminists. It's like, bro, you literally are incapable physically of removing this fucking beanie off of your dome. Like, what are you saying? Look at the way you look.
And ambition. Men who don't get up, don't exercise, don't improve themselves. And she thought, this is what men are. Interesting. Perhaps one of the big reasons that many women are claiming to be LGBTQ is because they're not feeling strong attraction to males because they're not actually encountering real masculinity for which they would.
Yeah. Famously, lesbians secretly love super brolic alpha dog masculine men, okay? But they just never get enough of that, so then they become lesbian.
Would be attracted to.
Yes, that is Tim blaming lesbians, a brand new phenomenon, on feminine men. As in, the reason he thinks that some women like other women is that men act too much like women? Damn lesbians, always hating feminine things. Lesbians, famous for hating pussies. Hey, Tim, I'm gonna need you to admit on camera that by this logic, the increasing masculinization of women is making you want to suck a man's dick. That's what you're saying. All of these unnecessarily manly women are making you want to curl up in the strong arms of a man to escape the women's manliness, you see. Tim is not a man who, like, thinks before he says stuff. Not even for a second. It's like his one conviction. He wouldn't even think before he says stuff for money. Good thing he doesn't have to, actually. And despite all of this, despite being vocally single, despite saying he has no family, no kids, Tim is more than happy to act like an expert on these things.
I'm hanging out over the holidays, and you know, I'm hanging out with this couple, and they've got two kids that are like 2 and 5 years old or whatever, and they're just like, dude, all this talk about gender neutral stuff and whatever, it's fake news. Because anybody who's raised children, is that a boy and a girl, they just know, like, boys do things and girls do things. They were telling us, like, for some reason, the little boy has just started smashing things. Like, no one ever told him to do it. And for some reason, the little girl started picking up dolls and nurturing them. For real. They were like, the little girl wants to carry around the dolls and baby them, and the little boy is just smashing things. And they're actually like, why are you doing that? Because little boys are different.
That's right. Tim Pool, child and women expert, thinks that little girls don't like smashing things based on a conversation with a couple he was hanging out with over the holidays. How is this not the type of conversation you'd have with some guy at the bar who gets increasingly sadder the more you learn about him? He's speaking with such confidence about something he very clearly has no actual first.
To be fair, he is also speaking to an audience of like equally out of touch basement dwellers for the most part, or divorced dads. So I suspect that like his audience is not going to be able to check him on this. You know what I mean? They simply do not have the lived experience to be like, that seems weird that your only experience with this is by talking to a couple, you know?
Hand experience with. And so I really think that Tim Pool is just a guy with a really inflated ego who thinks he's way smarter than he is. And you can really tell that whenever he lies, or rather tries to lie. Like,
what is that? You need to show the Tim Pool audience. Just saw it recently. Yeah, I want to see that. I saw someone on Toilet Paper USA subreddit. Like someone was posting a Toilet Paper USA subreddit link. I want to know what his audience looks like. I can't believe I'm asking for a subreddit link, and of course Weeby. A few days ago, Tim Pool held a members only live show, and the audience was exactly what you'd expect. When Tim Pool says he's building a culture, this is what he means. Oof. Yikes, dude. Oh my God. What do you mean, of course, Weeby? Oh, I'm sorry. Who runs the fucking Brett Cooper subreddit on Reddit? Who's a moderator of the Brett Cooper subreddit? You are, motherfucker. Yeah. Don't come in here and be like, oh, I'm not a Redditor. Left is falling for fake news classic. I don't know, man. I don't know, big dog. Proof's in the pudding. I like seeing stuff like this because it also, kind of shows you why people have certain opinions. Like, a lot has to go wrong in your fucking life for you to be able, for you to become such a hateful person, right? Like, it's sometimes good to just bring people back to reality a little bit. You know?
Sure you do. You've seen it in every clip. He doesn't take it off. And we all know why he wears it. But when he was finally...
Right, I'm going to skip the beanie part. I don't really care.
It will be Steven Crowder. It will be Timcast IRL. These will be the shows that are running in the background. So when people are sitting there, that's what they're going to see.
Tim Pool audience video.
All right,
went
guys, so
recently.
I don't know about you guys, but one mystery that's always interested me is someone I...
Where
is well, first of all, I think views for something like what the audience looks like. So, guys, only 3 without warning. There they are, guys. I mean, we don't deserve this, guys. I don't know. I feel unworthy of this gift, this insight. I love this. Look at them. They're even better than I imagined. Congratulations, guys.
God damn, dude. God damn. God damn, son. God damn. Is basically our community's demographics. Bitch, I'm outside more, okay? I interact with my audience more frequently than Tim Pool does. You know what the fucking audience looks like, okay? It does not look like this. The fuck? Called out. Where are the other members of the Austin Show podcast, like the Mormon white woman, the gay socialist, and his drag queen husband, Will Neff? That's hilarious. It's crazy.
I think I do recognize a couple different strains there. I'm going to spend some time analyzing this for sure. What a gift. Such a relief to put to bed some of the stress of harboring that mystery.
You were right. Yeah. Should Brett Cooper conduct more interviews with sportsmen and celebrities? Yeah. That's probably Weeby's alt account. No Engineer 9080. Also posting like, yeah, no, it's real, dude. 100%.
Damn, this guy's good.